Good afternoon, everybody. We were fortunate enough to see a demonstration by the U.S. Navy Marine Mammal Program that was pretty amazing, and I hope we all enjoyed it and found it to be beneficial. My name is Vicki Hennessy. I'm the director of the San Francisco Department of Emergency Management, and I'd like to go ahead and start this off by introducing Mayor Gavin Newsom.
Vicki, and thank you, everybody. And well, I have no idea what's on your mind, but let me tell you what's on my mind. This morning we started the Golden Guardian exercise, which is a regional exercise, not just the city and county of San Francisco, but the entire Bay region. A scenario that was played out in real time this morning with the emergency operations of the city and county, as well as those of our peer agencies and around the Bay, including the state of California and some of our federal agencies that are present today. And a scenario was played out. This is a scenario that was not familiar to the participants, but nonetheless a framework that is very familiar to the participants. The Golden Guardian exercise has been advanced over the course of a number of years. Different scenarios are availed on a different basis and based upon the scenarios that are played out by some of our consultants. It is a very valuable exercise because at the end of the day, people like me come and go. People, our respective counterparts in the East Bay and the South Bay, they come and go. Elected officials are replaced with new folks. You have department heads that are replaced with new folks. You have commissions that are replaced with new folks. And there is a need to constantly be vigilant and to constantly work through a process of collaboration and exercise that over and over and over and over again. The bottom line is there is no having made it when it comes to emergency planning. It's a very dynamic process. It's not static, and that was example today. A perfect, little tidbit and insight was some cell phones had changed, some pagers had changed, some numbers had changed, and in most cases we got them, but not in every case we got them. You could imagine from a regional perspective, in terms of the issue of communication, how that's played out. That's why these things are incredibly valuable. The whole idea is not to play gotcha. The whole idea is to have problems and learn from those problems and fix them. And that's maybe the most important idea, is don't repeat your mistakes. Make sure that you learn from them, but make them. And that's was the idea this morning, to have people express themselves in an honest and forthright way and have a debate internally, and then process that through an after-action report of sorts where we go forward and we're stronger, more secure, and we are more collaborative. I want to just make that point that I just referenced, the point of collaboration. We recognize what you all know, and this is rote cliche, but it needs to be repeated over and over again, is that an emergency, man-made or otherwise, knows no boundaries of jurisdiction. This scenario that played out today was not a scenario that impacted the 47.5 square miles that make up San Francisco, but did impact the city and county of San Francisco nonetheless as the scenario was played out. And that's why it's important to have the people you see behind me at the ready working with us in a collaborative manner. Most important issue is to seek first to understand, then to be understood. Get the facts, disseminate those facts, and to make sure that we're all on the same page. And so that was a good part of this morning. The part you witnessed will be explained to you more eloquently than I can in a moment, and that has to do with the remarkable technology, which is not tomorrow's technology, but arguably yesterday's technology. Living, breathing things that can offer a lot of insight and a lot of value. Dolphins that have been utilized for decades, and you'll learn more about that in a moment. Sea lions that have been utilized around the world that could aid and enhance our emergency response, aid and enhance our prevention efforts. And that obviously has gotten a lot of attention because every year we do the Guardian exercises and you rarely show up. So this year you've shown up for a reason, and I imagine it's not to talk about the exercise that was played out in our 911 emergency communication department this morning, but the one you saw just a moment ago. And I'll ask Vicki to come up, and then we will talk to the experts that are here that are doing some pretty extraordinary work. And I want to just thank them for being part of this. And I believe this to be the first time you guys have been out here doing this type of exercise. So I'm very grateful that the focus and attention has been placed on the West Coast. We tend to be so, I think, East Coast centric in terms of our emergency response, particularly as it relates to the issue of terrorism. I will remain ever vigilant as mayor and as a citizen, concerned always about our vulnerabilities out here on the West Coast, particularly in an iconic city, the city and county of San Francisco. Make no mistake, we continue to not be worried, because I don't want to create uncertainty or doubt in people's minds, but we maintain a very, very, very strong sense of responsibility and vigilance as it relates to the issue of man-made disasters, again, not just Mother Nature and her fury, and that is underscored seemingly every few months with more information that's made public and information that we receive candidly, privately, that just furthers that cause of concern. And so I want to remind people to continue to be prepared. I want to remind people to, if they haven't, check out not just our siren system that's being exampled and exercised today, as it is every Tuesday at noon, but to go on the 72hour.org website. I can't impress you enough of the importance of going on 72hour.org website and learn more about how you could be disaster prepared and not just count on the folks you see behind me, leadership at the state and federal levels of different agencies, but make sure you're disaster ready at home. Vicki?
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We're very pleased to have Secretary Matthew Bettenhausen from the California Emergency Management Agency. We work very closely with the state, and we're very happy to have Matt as one of our partners.
Thank you, Vicki. And thank you all for being here. This is Golden Guardian 2010 that Governor Schwarzenegger started when he became governor back in 2004. It's important, as the mayor discussed, for us to exercise, collaborate, and work together. And exercising is important, not only that you can find out where your fail points are and fix them, but you also find out where our successes are. And you want to make sure that you document those successes to make sure that when a catastrophe happens, you also repeat those successes. And so, Mayor, I want to thank you for your leadership. You've been a very close partner, participating every year in the Golden Guardian. We've done senior leadership tabletop exercises for the 20th anniversary of Loma Prieta events and preparedness. You've got a great team here. Vicki Hennessy, Chief Joanne White, Chief Cashman, who else? Monique Moyers here from the San Francisco port. The ports are important not only to the economy of San Francisco and Oakland and the greater Bay Area, but also in Los Angeles and Long Beach. Over 60% of the entire container traffic coming to the United States come through the ports here in California. So we know that our ports are vital not only to the economy of California, but they're the engine that drives the national economy as well. And that's why the governor created the California Maritime Security Council, which I chair along with the Coast Guard, to look at all 11 of our ports. And then working with our local leadership and with the legislature, we passed Proposition 1B bonds that have allowed us to invest to improve the security at our ports. It also allowed us, and what we've been doing, and we announced yesterday, is increasing the ferry service and the capabilities of the ferries here in the Bay Area, because we know if we have an earthquake, the bridges are going to be shut down. Maritime transportation is important. These investments create jobs, improve the economy, as well as the environment, getting a number of folks off the roads by using these ferry systems. So it's been a very busy day up here in the Bay Area. You saw the demonstration here where we were looking for explosive devices that were laid in the harbor. For the first time, brought up the DoD Marine Mammal Unit that normally resides in San Diego. So this is a capability resident here in California. As the Mayor Newsom discussed, it's all about collaboration and partnerships. And what you saw here is federal, state, local, and across the Bay Area, also our volunteers and private sector partners. It's great to have the captain of the port, Captain Jug here with us today. Unfortunately, he's going to be retiring in August, but so we congratulate and thank you for your service. We have an incredibly close partnership with the Coast Guard, and they're running the area maritime security committees. So what we have going on today, you've seen here in San Francisco. Down in Redwood City, we did several improvised explosive devices with actual pyrotechnics, and we're simulating a chemical release. We've deployed the California National Guard, the civil support team, which is hundreds of individuals who can operate in a hazardous material environment, decontaminate folks. We deployed one of our 8 urban search and rescue FEMA-sponsored teams from Menlo Park. The CERT teams, the community emergency response teams that I know Vicki and you guys and the fire service, Joanne Hayes-White, volunteers and police service, and fire corps. We couldn't do it without the volunteers. We also simulated an attack on a ship in Oakland. And we're going to simulate a sinking of a ship in the channel. There's also events going on throughout the state. Down in Los Angeles and Long Beach, tomorrow we'll have a Mumbai-style small craft, small arms attack on the beach complex, or the port complex there, along with the taking of a ferry. In San Diego, we're also exercising mass transit and the ports. And we also have UC San Marco participating with an attack on a large venue, their stadium there. So this is important for us to work through these issues. It's unfortunate that we live in a dangerous world, and through these exercises we are getting safer and better prepared here in California. And so I thank you, Mayor, again for your leadership and having us and hosting us, and your entire team, Vicki, Joanne, and everybody who I really enjoy working with all of the time, who do an incredible job keeping not only San Francisco but the entire state safe.
Thank you, Secretary Bettenhausen. Now we're going to introduce our Fire Chief, Joanne Hayes-White.
Good afternoon. Thank you. I think Mayor Newsom and Secretary Bettenhausen has said quite a bit. I know the San Francisco Fire Department always appreciates the opportunity to exercise with our regional, state, and federal partners, and today is no different. Very impressive demonstration by the Marine Mammal Program, just showcasing another resource that our city has here in the state of California. So we appreciate that very much. I also appreciate the ride that we received over from the members of the San Francisco Fire Department on our fireboat Guardian. It's about a 60-year-old vessel, an important piece of the city's public safety. Thank you to Lieutenant Merkins and the crew for bringing us over, and for all the members locally today that participated in the Golden Guardian exercise. My team members, including the Department of Emergency Management, who had put all of this together under the direction of Vicki Hennessy, who will be retiring next month and has done an incredible job in coordinating all the local agencies to work better together. And certainly, before I finish up, I'd like to acknowledge Mayor Gavin Newsom. I've been working with him closely for about 6.5 years, and I am always impressed at his leadership and his prioritization of the public safety. Very involved. You were with us this morning. I know you have some very difficult budget decisions to make. He was very involved today in the policy group where we were meeting for over an hour. Always very interested and vigilant about keeping the public safe. So if it wasn't for your leadership and you holding all of your department heads accountable to work closely together, we wouldn't be as safe as we are. So thank you so much, and thank you for coming out today.
Thank you, Chief Hayes-White. We now have Assistant Chief Kevin Cashman from the San Francisco Police Department.
Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of the Police Department, I'd like to thank all the participants of the 2010 Golden Guardian exercise, in particular Vicki Hennessy and her staff for helping coordinate a lot of this. It is logistically very challenging to plan and coordinate a major event like this, so we do thank everyone. You know, there's a saying in coaching that you play the way you practice. In other words, you really want to make sure you're ready on game day. It's better to find out in an environment like this if you have problems. And as the mayor alluded to earlier, there were some communications issues. They were minor, and we'll get over them for next time. Additionally, you don't want to find out if you have logistical challenges or personnel issues or anything to do with that. You'd rather find out here and move on. But the other value of this exercise, quite frankly, is the relationships you build. Agencies tend to be insular in nature. Departments, city departments are also like that. But this is an environment where we can all work with each other, be dependent upon each other, and we know if things really go wrong, we are going to be very dependent upon each other. So it's very important to forge those relationships, and this kind of exercise really has value in that. So on behalf of the police department, I'd like to thank all the participants once again.
Thank you, Chief Cashman. Now I'd like to introduce Tom Lapuza, the Public Affairs Officer from the U.S. Navy Marine Mammal Center. Tom? Thank you so much for bringing everything.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad we were able to provide you a show. One of the things that has been said repeatedly, but it can't be said enough, is the fact that if you're going to be in the middle of an emergency and you can't talk to each other because you haven't practiced talking to each other, it doesn't work. And the unfortunate thing, and I will give you a real life example of this, we have the organization I work for, Space and Naval Warfare Systems Center Pacific, which is down in San Diego, has as its main focus developing information technology for the Navy. And one of the things we develop are command centers for ships. We have this one called the Command Center of the Future, and it's kind of our visualization of how things are going to be 10 years from now on a Navy ship. What kind of technologies are we going to use? How's it going to work? So I had some visitors there not too long ago. I was giving a little overview, and one of them said, you know, you guys are wasting your time. They already have all this stuff. I saw this movie, this Star Wars movie, Star Trek movie, and they already have all these things. The unfortunate thing is lots of people think because they've seen the movies where somebody has this little phone and he calls the Coast Guard and the CIA and the FBI and they all show up. You know what? It doesn't work that way. We've discovered so many times it doesn't work that way. The only way you do it is you do something like a Golden Guardian exercise where people who don't normally work together start talking to each other, start realizing the radios don't work with each other. So we're very pleased that we were able to bring another federal agency in addition to the Coast Guard to this exercise. There's actually some part of the exercises going down in San Diego today. But the ability to take a federal agency like us, working with the Coast Guard, working with local, federal, regional, county agencies is a really difficult thing to do. It costs a lot of money to do it. But in the long run, when it all shakes out and you're in the middle of a crisis that threatens your life, these folks are going to be there cooperating with each other to protect you. So we're very happy that we have the opportunity to work with them, too, for the first time. Hope we'll be able to do it again in the future. Thank you.
Now, as you know, today's exercise was a port-centric exercise, so I want to make sure that we introduce the Executive Director of the San Francisco Port, Monique Moyer.
Thank you, Vicki, and thank you to all of you who are still here with us. I just want to add a quick couple of remarks, and that is the importance of this exercise today for a port like San Francisco. As you look around you, you will notice there are no barriers to entry. While most ports in California, as the Secretary mentioned earlier, are moving containerized goods, this is still a working port. But our number one trade is in human lives. And so I am joined today by a number of agencies who believe, as I do, that while we can put a value on containerized goods, we can put a value on the global logistics system, we cannot put a value on human life, and that is our number one concern. And so I hope as you leave today, you'll take a look not only at these beautiful surroundings, this terrific bay we've been able to come up to, but also all of the partners who are here, mammal and human alike. And I thank you again for your interest in this topic.
Thank you, Monique. And finally, we have Captain Paul Gugg, the commander. He's actually the captain of the port for San Francisco.
Thank you very much. I just want to play on one of the mayor's keywords, and that was vigilance. It's all about vigilance. That's why we do what we do today. You look at a daily basis around here. We're very practiced at the prevention things. Every day we practice deterring and detecting threats. But it's really important in the play world where things the stakes aren't quite as high, that we get to practice the response and the recovery side of things like we do in exercises like this. So the whole vigilance enchilada, so to speak, includes not just the prevention side, but on occasions like this to practice how we would work together to protect our citizenry and to reestablish the port capabilities. So thank you very much for building the Coast Guard into today's very important exercise. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain Gugg. I just wanted to say from the Department of Emergency Management, it's important that we collaborate with all these agencies, but I also want Rob Dudgeon, raise your hand, he's my Deputy Director, and everybody else who works for the Department of Emergency Management. Most of us are wearing these jackets today. Teresa, Laura, Dave Everly, we have a number of people here today that have made this all possible. Thank you very much, and I think if you have questions, now's the time.
On this topic, guys.
Any questions on this topic or the exercise you saw today? Seeing none, I think that's the end of this press conference. Thank you so much.